Hey all, welcome to ShareTrek. This is Raj here, and today I want to talk to you more about Illumina. I just mentioned Illumina a few times in my previous videos, but I didn't have the time to go through and organize my thoughts properly. So today I want to talk more about Illumina and touch upon their Q1 results and some recent developments and just give you an idea of what I feel about Illumina right now. So let's get started. Welcome back, friends. We just got the quarterly earnings result from Illumina for the first quarter of 2021. And in the quarter under review, Illumina's revenue were $1.09 billion. That was down 11.1% year over year. And the decrease was driven by an anticipated year-over-year slowdown in COVID-19 monitoring, pandemic-related disruptions in China, the transition of Illumina's high-throughput customers to NovaSec X, which is a better platform, and globally constrained capital markets. Well, the top line bet consensus estimate by 2.4%. Still, the sentiment on Illumina remained negative. Let's take a quick look at the charts because there's a very strong resistance for the stock, and I want to show it to you in the chart. And then I would like to discuss recent developments, which I think underpins the resistance. So let's take a look at TradingView first. Well, here we are in the TradingView platform, and I'm looking at the chart for Illumina. And each of the candles in here is a one-day candle. I'm just going to expand this so you can see the magnitude of drop in sentiment on Illumina. You can see that earlier it was range bound, and then this green line down here was the lower range, and the red line above was the higher range, and it was in this range all the way from 2nd of June onwards. And then somewhere in between there was Carl Icahn's entry into this picture. And right now, if you look at the last 3 days, you can see a heavy fall. It fell from 227.99 all the way down to 218.83 on 25th of April. And then it fell down on 26th from 208.37 all the way down to 210.76. And then it has closed today a little bit up at around 205.64, and post-market it has been up a little bit more at 205.56. That's around 0.57% increase. But it is under the resistance of 208.37. And if you look closely at where we are, we have a confluence of two resistances. One is a diagonal line of resistance from the earlier bull channel. So this was green line before when we were above it. It was acting as a bull support line. Right now it is acting as a bear resistance line. And we are below that. We tried to pierce through it and we came back down again. And if you look at the momentum is attempting to pick up, but the MACD is very negative. So overall, I think there's a negative bias for Illumina. There's a lot of resistance in the horizon when we come to the market. This is going to be Friday, 5th of May that we are in, when the intersection between the diagonal line and the horizontal line of resistance happens. So until the end of next week, we have got strong resistance, and Friday marks the strongest of all the resistance. And then we'll see what happens. Now, this is underpinned by a lot of other factors. So here is what we get from their quarterly report. Illumina says it has shipped 6 NovaSec system, which has been above the company's projection of 20 systems, which likely contributed to approximately around 20 million odd of sales for the company. However, it has cannibalized the previous systems that it was marketing. So that revenue got reduced. So overall, the customer is having a good experience. This is, again, good for the company, but for a short period of time, this cannibalization of its own market is going to cost the bottom line for this company for a while, but top line and bottom line. But going forward, things would be much better. That's my opinion. Total sales of next generation sequencing declined 27% year over year, and revenue from consumables, which was one-time use items needed to perform sequencing, fell by 12%. I think a good portion of this could also be because of the receding COVID pandemic, and as a result of which a little bit of reduction in consumables might have happened. Also, people are switching from one sequencing system to another. Those who have all upgraded, I suppose they must have not ordered fresh supplies, and they would have tried to use the existing consumables before getting into the new NovaSec X. making a hypothesis out here. I don't know if that is the case, but those all could be the reasons why there was a drop of around 12% in that area. And also, I think this could indicate a floor below which there would be no declines and things would improve going forward. However, this hypothesis has to be tested, and we'll get to know that in the second quarter, or news releases that we get in between. They could give us a glimpse of what is happening. But I think the board battles with Carl Icahn is also taking energy away from the actual battle with FTC and EU Competition Authority to retain Grail. This has opened up a can of risks for Illumina, and its share prices are responding with sluggishness that we have seen in the chart. This conflict seems to be far from over and is likely to cast a long shadow over the company, depending on the outcome of the May 25th virtual meeting to elect directors. Remember, Carl Icahn wants 3 directors on the board, and Illumina has recommended to shareholders that they can give only 1. So there is this fight going on out there, and Carl Icahn has also put an open letter to all the shareholders complaining about all the things that are wrong with Illumina. So we'll have to see what's the outcome. Overall, Illumina's core business generated almost 1.08 billion in sales. That said, the company Grail has contributed to around 20 billion to this revenue number. While facing regulatory scrutiny, Illumina must hold Grail as a separate company, and that has its own overheads. And they have also set aside $480 million to pay for penalties due to Grail, and the $20 million revenue from Grail, it's kind of strengthening the argument from Carl Icahn in his open letter. Carl Icahn said Grail is costing more time and money than it is worth. It's just contributing a very small portion. Meanwhile, Illumina has reaffirmed its financial guidance for the year, which includes projected sales growth of 7% to 10%. This includes 6% to 9% growth from core Illumina operations. The company also expects Grail, its cancer screening subsidiary, to generate between 90 million and 110 million in sales for the year, which is almost double the $51 million in revenue it bought in the last year. Still, Grail is not worth the $7 billion it cost and the $480 million penalty it has kept aside in reserve for potential loss on its sale. And remember, EU has said that it is going to take a percentage of annual sales. I think it was around 10% or something of annual sales of global annual sales of Grail. So I think it all strengthens Carl Icahn's argument, and we have to see how the shareholders will respond. Meanwhile, on Thursday, the US FDA announced that some of Illumina's DNA sequencing devices identified as a cybersecurity flaw that could pose risk to patient data and networks of the company's client, and also to the FDA. This vulnerability could be exploited by hackers to take control remotely, change the setting, or manipulate data on the instruments or on clients' networks. This may lead to an inaccurate result and data breaches. According to the FDA, Illumina has developed a software patch to fix the cybersecurity vulnerability affecting some of its DNA sequencing devices. The agency wants healthcare providers and laboratory personnel to take necessary actions to mitigate cybersecurity risks. Illumina has informed its affected clients to check their devices for any potential hacking activities. Illumina's Chief Technology Officer, Alex Aravanis, stated that the company's team developed mitigations to protect their instruments and customers and contacted regulators and customers to resolve the issue. Aravanis said that the simple software update would be free and require little to no downtime for most customers. The share will come out of its downward spiral once the Grail issue is resolved. That is my personal opinion. If this software vulnerability was the only problem that Illumina had, I think it would have just breezed through it, because most software companies have a software issue here and there, and a patch is a very easy way to settle it. But I think that because the Grail issue is front and center and it has led to more branches, it's growing like a tree. The Grail issue is the root. From there, you have the Carl Icahn issue. and then the fight between Carl Icahn and the board, and then the fight with the FTC, and the fight with the EU, and then the financial issues of having a separate reserve set aside to pay for penalties for Grail, and then having to run Grail as a separate company, which is a requirement from the EU regulatory authority. So it's a big mess out there unless Grail becomes an issue which has been resolved and put into the rearview mirror. Even if it is going to cost a few billions, I think that's the best option for Illumina. And I don't see how Francis D'Souza is going to come out of this clean because this has cost a lot of shareholder value, which is estimated around 50 billion drop in shareholder value. And also it's an ongoing liability and it's getting accumulated. And there is no guarantee that Illumina is going to win against FTC and the EU Competition Authority. So that's the verdict from my side. And of course, I know that you guys have your own theories about this. Some of you may own Illumina shares. I would like to hear from you. Put in the comment what you think is the situation. Do you agree with me? And what are your points of view? I'd be really glad to hear alternate point of views. And of course, before I go, I'd like to request you that please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to help grow this channel, because as this channel grows, I would be able to do more and more for the channel. As you can see, I have stepped up to almost 2 videos a day and trying to keep the quality level as well. And with more help, I'll be able to do much better. And for that, we need to monetize this channel in an effective way. And first, we have to reach our target of 5,000 subscribers. Your help is going to be very instrumental in growing this channel. So please like, share, and subscribe and help grow this channel. Thanks and have a great day. Bye for now.